Frederick. She's a Democrat running for Secretary of State in South Dakota. Welcome, Alexandra.
Hi there. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Can you sort of start us off by telling us a little about yourself and how you came to be running for Secretary of State?
Well, my name is Alexandra Frederick. I'm a lifelong South Dakotan. I'm a Oglala Lakota tribal member, and I decided kind of on a whim, but my whole life kind of led up to agreeing to run for Secretary of State at the Democratic Convention in June. And I was the first Native woman to be nominated for this position.
And what is it about the Secretary of State position that's especially appealing to you? You know, how does it sort of match up with your goals in running for office?
Well, I think mostly the Secretary of State here in South Dakota handles a lot of the voting and just the regulations, everything. What was most important to me was bringing people into the process. There's not a lot of voter turnout, and then after the 16 election, voter turnout was way down. So I want to bring people in because our state is growing as far as population and diversity. So I want everybody to be represented.
I heard you talking on another interview about some of the challenges that especially the populations that are on reservations face with voting. Can you talk some about that?
Voting on the reservation, I know they don't look to us, I guess, as contributing towards the state elections. The reservations exist as their own sovereign governments, but we still vote in the state elections. On my reservation, for example, in Pine Ridge, there had been times where polling places were closed early, where voters were turned away. We're finding this year that a lot of voters had been purged from the last election, specifically tribal members, and also voting locations. When my sister and I both went to vote, we lived in the same house, and I voted in one precinct, and they couldn't find her. Well, she was 15 miles away in another town on their rolls, so she had to go to the other town to vote. So and it hasn't changed because my mom's in that other precinct, and it makes no sense. So it's kind of frustrating, and I think it was meant to turn away Native voters, honestly.
So you are a rancher.
I am.
Can you sort of tell us a little bit about that and sort of what that's like living on a ranch? I've never been to a ranch, so I'm interested to hear.
Okay. My husband and I, we own and operate the oldest ranch in Todd County, South Dakota, established with his sixth great-grandfather, I believe. Wow. And it was started same time the reservation, Rosebud Reservation, was started. And it stayed within the family since then. And so his family has been here since 1904 in this same spot. I always wanted to be a rancher. I grew up with cows. I grew up with horses, and we'd always been involved in that sort of lifestyle. So while I was in college and when we decided what we were going to do with our lives after we got married, I said, I just want to have cows, and I want to ranch, and I want to have my horses, and that's how I want to raise my kids. So I went out and I got a loan and I bought my own cattle. And since then I've been operating, and we do grass-fed beef because we have a lot of grass out here. So I think it's important and integral to maintain that grassland and also create a product from there that we can live off of.
I've also seen some video of you in rodeos, but you had to give up your rodeo season this year.
I did. It was sad. Sometimes we were leaving some events and people were pulling in with their pickups and trailers, and I think, I could have been entered up this weekend. I would have been here. Totally different. Yeah, I haven't been able to ride as much, and it's been hard on me, I guess. So it was a sacrifice, but I think it's totally worth it.
So South Dakota is an enormous state, and running in a statewide election like this, how do you manage? I mean, what does that look like in terms of actually campaigning and getting to places?
Well, it was pretty much when we were nominated, it was like, what do we do now? And there wasn't really anybody there to say, give us a play-by-play how you're supposed to do things. We've done small-time campaigns. I ran my husband's campaign when he ran for tribal council, and that was tiny compared to what we're doing now. So it took a little while to warm up, to start fundraising, to get to these places. I know we put a lot of our own money in, but we just hit the road and we started traveling. My husband works for the school district, so he has the summers off, which worked out for us. So all the month, end of June, all through July, in the beginning of August, we were traveling, and we put over 10,000 miles on our one vehicle. And I know we have another vehicle. When we did take the horses to the parades and stuff, we used that one. It's been just nonstop. But now that he's back at work, we're kind of home, and we strategize for the week, and I'll go to different meetings and different areas. I know sometimes my son and I just last week drove 2.5 hours one way to attend an hour meeting and turn around and come home. But, it's what we've been doing to try to get in touch with as many people as we can. It's a huge state, and it's rural. So there's not a lot of people that are going to be paying attention to Facebook or social media. And like a lot of people don't really watch TV anymore. We have a lot of streaming services. So we've been trying to go face to face and be at all the celebrations and be in a bunch of parades. So it's been a learning experience.
What are some of the things that people are talking to you about as you're going around and campaigning? What are some of the things that people are sort of asking you to fix or asking you what your position is on?
What they want is to be included. We're hearing from people, they're just ready for a change. Mm-hmm. They want something more. South Dakota has had a lot of scandals over the past, I guess, few decades, since it's been Republican since the 80s, and the scandals have become outrageous. And so everybody's wanting this change. They want somebody in there who is hardworking, who isn't a politician from generations. Like, I know my opponent, his family had been in politics, and he's a current state auditor, so he's just moving up the ladder, and that's how it's been. They've been representatives and then senators, and then they move up into our Congress seats and governors. So it's been the same people for a very long time, and everybody's so wanting that change, and they want accountability, and they want transparency. And hopefully I can, if I get in, that's what I'll bring to the office, bringing the people back into my office with me.
You said that it's been Republican and that people are looking for change. Do you think that will translate to people voting for Democrats?
Maybe somebody not Republican, maybe somebody that maybe new Republicans. I know there's as many independent voters in South Dakota as there are Republican voters. Mm. So I think either way, and this year, I really believe we have a strong ticket here in South Dakota with our Democratic candidate, Billy Sutton. He's really what South Dakota is. He's a hard worker, and he works both sides. He's not totally one side or nothing, and he's for the people. And I think that translates on down for the rest of us on the Democratic ticket. We're ready. We're ready to work, and it feels like a really strong ticket.
So you're also a mom. What is that like, doing all this campaigning? And I think, and you homeschool your kids as well, right?
I do. So they get to go with me. It's, my son, he gets tired of it. My daughter actually got her first job, and because we do the online work, she can take her stuff and continue on through the fall with her job. And it's working. She works for a real close family friend, so she's getting that real life experience. And also, when she does campaign with us, she tries to say, I'm not a people person, but she's the one. She talks way more than I do.
And what kind of reception are you getting from the other people in the Lakota tribe and from, maybe other tribal nations? Are people excited to see a Native American woman running for office? What has that been like?
People are excited. And this year is record-breaking. There are 54 Native women across the nation running for office, not just their state representation. They're running for Congress. They're running for Senate. They're governors. And it's this year, I think. There's something about it. We all went big. We didn't just start out on the school boards. And there are a lot more women in general, but Native candidates too, stepping up and running for different offices all across the political spectrum. So it's been really phenomenal, I guess. That's how I can describe it, as far as many women candidates, Native women candidates, have stepped up to run for different offices.
So, Alexandra, is there anything else that you wanted to make sure that we talk about?
Just the difference in the candidates this year. I met a lot along the trail in South Dakota who are mothers, there's a lot of women who are ready for this change, and it is inspiring, and it must be. You guys are from Chicago, and you got a hold of me, and I'm just what we in Lakota we call ikje. We're just common people, and that's how I feel. I didn't really think of ever doing this. I thought maybe the change was going to be my kids, because I'm going to raise them to do more and be more for the people, but I guess I always say you have to be the change you want to see. So maybe that's the direction we're going. But yeah, I'm just honored to be among all these Native women and all these Native candidates that are running for office. South Dakota has been a state for 129 years, and never has there been this many Native candidates on the ballot. There are 10 that we know of in South Dakota. So every reservation, there's 9 in South Dakota we go to. Every one of them can vote for at least one. The Pine Ridge Reservation, where I'm from, there are 5 on the ballot that they can vote for on the state level. And everywhere else has at least 2. So it's a huge change that's coming about.
That's awesome. If people want to support your campaign, how can they do that?
I do have an Act Blue account, Alexandra Frederick for Secretary of State. I am online. I have a website, Frederick for South Dakota, all spelled out, .com. And I'm on Facebook, Alexandra Frederick for South Dakota Secretary of State.
Great. And we'll put a link for your website up on our website as well. And people should check out your Facebook page, because that's where all those excellent videos are.
I know. And I got tagged as not a real person on Facebook, so I can't boost any of my posts.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Russian stuff. So it's totally grassroots. It's totally organic how the word is spreading. So yeah, I've fought with them for months now, and I just can't. I can't get them to boost a post and recognize me as a real person.
Oh.
Well, everyone who's listening to this should go on your Facebook page.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
Everybody else should do it too.
I love your videos because they're so authentic, and I really loved being able to look back at you in a rodeo, and you had a video just I think just this past weekend where you were canning and preserving foods, and it's just great that you're so real and authentic.
Yeah, hopefully people see that, and I'm not just putting on a show. This is how I live, and I just want to work hard for my state and my people, and hopefully I can do that come November. We'll find out.
Well, Alexandra, thank you so much for talking to us. It's really fantastic. It's been so inspirational. We've spoken to Sharice Davids, and we're going to be speaking to a couple of other Native women coming up, and it's so exciting this year, and it's so exciting to have people like you running in South Dakota and just putting it all out there and saying, I'm gonna just travel everywhere, and we love it. Hey everyone, this is Kelly with Two Broads Talking Politics. I'm here in this segment with Erin Healy, who is running for the South Dakota House of Representatives in District 14. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Kelly.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's